Have you ever stopped to think about what's really holding up our entire food system? I mean, really holding it up. It's not the tech, it's not the markets, it's literally the ground beneath our feet. Today, we're going to dig into why soil is the most important and probably the most overlooked foundation we have. And this quote right here, it just hits the nail on the head. It's telling us that you can have the smartest financial models and the most advanced technology in the world, but if the land they depend on is falling apart, none of it matters. If that ecological foundation cracks, everything we've built on top of it is at risk.
So first up, we've got to get one thing straight. When we talk about soil, we are not talking about dirt. What we're actually looking at is a complex, living, breathing ecosystem. It's packed with microbial life, and this tiny, unseen world is what drives everything, from cycling nutrients for plants to holding onto water and even pulling carbon out of the atmosphere.
Okay, but here's the catch. Our entire global food system. Right now, it's built on pretty shaky ground. Think about it like this. You wouldn't build a massive skyscraper on a foundation of sand and crumbling concrete, would you? Well, that's pretty much what we're doing with our agriculture. And look, these aren't just some abstract environmental issues for a future generation to worry about. These are direct physical risks happening right now. When soils are degraded, they can't grow enough food. When biodiversity is lost, the whole system gets weaker. And when climate shocks like floods or droughts hit, there's no buffer. All of that is a direct threat to farmers' livelihoods and, honestly, to all of us. What this chart shows so well is that these threats aren't happening in isolation. They're all connected, feeding into this really nasty cycle. Degraded soil leads to less biodiversity, which in turn makes the land way more vulnerable to climate shocks. See what I mean? You can pour money into better seeds, but if the soil itself is dead, those investments are just not going to pay off. So the big question is, how do we fix this? Well, we have to go right back to the start. We have to rebuild the foundation. The real solution isn't some fancy tech fix layered on top of a broken system. No, it's about making the entire system resilient from the ground up. And that starts with restoring the health of our soil.
And this really requires a huge shift in how we think. We have to stop seeing soil as just some inert stuff that holds plants up. It is a dynamic living system. And you know what the most hopeful part of that is? Because it's alive, it can be healed. It can be restored. We can actually bring it back to life.
And when we do that, when we restore that ecological stability, something pretty amazing starts to happen. It creates a solid launch pad for everything else we want to do. All those great ideas, agroecology, new digital tools for farmers, nutrition programs, they all work so much better when they're built on a healthy, resilient foundation. So, how do we actually do it? This isn't just wishful thinking. There's a real, concrete blueprint for how we can systematically rebuild our planet's soil. The whole process is this clear, data-driven cycle. It's pretty logical, really. Step 1, you figure out where you're starting from by assessing the soil and climate data. Step 2, you implement the right kind of climate-smart practices for that specific place. And Step 3, you monitor everything. You track your progress, and you adjust as you go. And these are the kinds of tools we're talking about. This is the practical, on-the-ground stuff. We're talking big picture things like watershed protection, but also farm-level changes like adopting climate-smart agriculture. It's a whole toolkit, not just one single solution. And let's be super clear about this. Data is the engine that makes this whole thing go. It's what lets us move away from just guessing and toward precision restoration. Data helps us see the problem clearly, and, just as important, it lets us measure if what we're doing is actually working. So when we say data, what are we really talking about? Well, it's everything from nitty-gritty soil health details like organic matter and microbial life to big picture stuff like satellite data on deforestation and, of course, long-term climate patterns. All these pieces come together to give us a full picture so we can take effective action. So what is the payoff for all this work? What kind of future can we actually create if we follow this blueprint? And let's be real, what are the big challenges standing in our way? I mean, this slide really lays it all out, doesn't it? It's a pretty stark choice. The path we're on, the path of inaction, leads to more loss, more shocks, more insecurity. But the other path, the path of action, leads to a regenerative future, one where our food systems are more fertile, more resilient, and way more secure. And these outcomes, they create this amazing positive feedback loop. Healthier soil holds more water, which makes us more resilient to drought. It pulls more carbon from the atmosphere, which helps fight climate change. And it supports more biodiversity, which, you guessed it, makes the soil even healthier. It's a cycle of regeneration. Now, this might be the most mind-blowing part of the whole thing. Look at that number, 2 to 5 years. We're not talking about a project that's going to take generations to see results. This is something we can achieve within this decade. That timeline just screams urgency, but it also screams, hey, this is totally possible.
Of course, we've got to be realistic. This isn't a walk in the park. There are some serious hurdles. You've got the initial costs, the challenge of helping farmers shift their practices, building up the technical know-how, and getting governments on the same page. These are big challenges, for sure, but they are absolutely not unbeatable.
And this brings us right back to the data. Our success isn't just a vague feeling of doing good. It's measurable. It's real. We can scientifically track things like the percentage of organic matter in the soil or the rate of carbon sequestration. We will actually know if we are winning. So, when you boil it all down, it comes to this one question. The way our food system works today, it's not an accident. It's the result of choices we've made. We can choose to keep building on that crumbling foundation, or we can choose to invest in a living, resilient one. The choice is up to us.